Glad to have the Yankee manager Joe Girardi on hand. Flash is up here with me, Joe.
Flash, Kenny, how are you guys
We're
today?
doing pretty well. Speaking of doing well, it looked like Ivan Nova was in midseason form.
Yeah, he looks really good. We like where he's at this time of the year, and he threw some really good changeups today. He threw even a couple right-on-rights, which we think is going to be another step in his maturation as a pitcher to develop that pitch, and we're happy with what we saw.
You know what, Joe, you can talk about his pitches out on the mound, but tell me about his personality. I mean, was he one of those guys who went to the minor leagues last year and kind of that light went on and said, I really got to work and don't take it for granted?
Yeah, I think so. I think he realized that, you have to build off of what you do every start, and you can't take for granted what you've done in the past and to get to where you're at. And you can't let one bad start turn into two and three. And, he just came back with a little bit different stuff. His curveball was more consistent. I thought his sinker that Larry gave him became an important pitch for him, and he was dynamite.
Do you see that same focus this spring? Because that's what I've heard talking to guys.
Yeah,
he looks like he's very serious.
Yes, more serious than I've ever seen him, and we really like what we see. And I think he's growing up, and he understands what he needs to do to be successful.
Ground ball to the right side, and Roberts will throw out Jose Lobato. One down. Joe, there was a simulated game this morning. Manny Banuelos threw, Jose Campos threw, and more importantly, I think Mark Teixeira got a chance to hit.
Yeah, that was the first time he's taken some live BP, and he's scheduled to do it again tomorrow. Said he felt good today. He had no issues. And we're hoping to get him in a game here in a couple days, maybe on Thursday. So that was encouraging, and he came out of it good. And I'm curious to see how he feels tomorrow, but I expect nothing but good reports.
Now, several battles going on here in camp, and one of them is the backup catching role. And first of all, what are you looking for from a backup catcher?
Well, you want a guy who's can sit for a few days and always be ready to play, knows his pitching staff, works very hard defensively, understands what his role is, and it's to take care of the pitchers in a sense. But you also want a guy that if the frontline catcher went down for a few days, he can play 3, 4, 5 days in a row without necessarily losing a beat. I mean, some guys have a hard time playing every day when they're used to being a backup, but we feel we have that in a number of guys. I think we have a great competition. We have great depth in our catching all the way through. Sanchez has looked very, very good, and he's a younger catcher, 20, 21 years old, so we're really happy with the catching that we have in our camp.
Sean Kelly just spotted a fastball over the outside corner for call strike 3, 2 up and 2 down.
You know what, Joe, I guess part of the good news is you've seen a bunch of your competitors for that backup job in the big leagues last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember John Ryan Murphy going into Fenway Park and didn't bat an eye. Was able to play, and it gives you a little more, I guess, in your memory bank to go back to make a decision.
It really does. I mean, we look at what John Ryan did last year, and we called him JR last year, but John Ryan is what he likes to be called, and he looked great, and Romine looked great too.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought he really did the job defensively and came on stronger the second half offensively, and Servey had a great first month of the year. I mean, there's some real competition in this camp. You can look at that. You can look at the middle infield in a sense, backup, third base, platoon situation. You can look at the bullpen. So there's a lot of competition, and these guys have looked really good and are prepared.
I know that Romine threw out Jose Reyes yesterday up in Dunedin. Murphy hit a home run yesterday, and Savelli's thrown out a couple of runners. So they're all trying to make the decision difficult.
They're going to make it really difficult if they keep doing what they're doing, and it's going to be tough to have to send someone down. But as you know, you can never have too much depth. I mean, we saw that last year with all the injuries that we had, and a catcher, they can get nicked up so easily, and you need that depth.
Fly ball to center field. This is hit pretty well. On the move is Gardner, still going back, and it bounces up. No, it's gone. A home run. Zach Walters, who we mentioned, hit 29 home runs last year at Syracuse. Shows you some of that power. And it's a 4-1 ball game. That ball was well hit, Joe.
Yeah, it was. I didn't think it was going to get out. The wind's blowing out a little bit, and I thought Gardy had a beat on it. But sometimes those outfielders could fool you.
Well, he fooled me when he stuck his glove.
Yes, he did.
We're getting another look at it right now, Joe, and you could see Gardner had no idea where that ball was, even when it cleared the fence.
Well, that's the ones that clear the fence, that's okay. It's when they're in play that we worry about. It's a tough Sunday, and you're going to see a lot of that in Florida and getting used to it.
So it's now 4-1 game as Will Rhymes takes a pitch for a strike. Quickly, Joe, news on Alfonso Soriano and how's he coming along?
He's pretty close. You probably won't see him in the next couple of days. I think we're shooting for Thursday for him to be a player. We just want to make sure that he goes out there at full strength.
Yeah, for fans who might not know, Alfonso Soriano is some sort of flu bug, and it really hit him hard. And how concerned were you that it might spread to the rest of the team?
Well, that's why we left him at home for the most part, because that's what you get concerned about, being around the club and everyone getting sick. But so far, so good. It's really been the only case that we've had. And, he would come in the morning, see Stevie and the doctor, and then he'd basically go home. And he did that for a couple of days.
Are you happy with the way things are going in general for the team?
I am. The work that these guys are putting in, the enthusiasm that they have had in spring training, very happy with what they're doing.